Now that we have a Notes website layout, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to transfer off of CodePen and onto actual files on our computer and create a full website that all links together. So what's really important to know is that we need to be organized and we need to know where our files are going. This is super important because if you think about it, like we've discussed before, a website, when you go to a website like you go to CNN.com, when you type that in, you're sending a signal from your computer to a computer somewhere else and saying, hey, I want to look at CNN.com's website file, the HTML file. I want to see it. So then that server says, okay, great, here's the file, and it brings it back to your computer and you're viewing it. So you have to remember that when you're going to a website, you're viewing a file on someone else's computer. So we need to create those files and we need to organize them, and then we need to make them available to the public. So right now, what we're going to do is we're first going to get organized on our drives. So I'm on my personal computer. This is going to be really tricky, especially if you move computers. So don't move computers with these files. We definitely want to be on one computer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to our drives, and we are going to go to the folder that you've been putting all your digital design stuff in. So I'm going to go to my digital design 1 folder, and then we're going to create a new folder in here. So I'm going to go to the home tab and choose new folder, or you can right click and go to new folder. In here, what we're going to do is name this Notes Website. That way we have a folder to put stuff into. Okay. And then inside of that, we're going to double click to go inside of that folder. We're going to make another folder inside of there called Assets. And I'm going to make it all lowercase. This is where things are going to start getting important with how your files are named. With this, we want to make sure that we are doing two things. Number one, we are being very consistent. And number two, we are not using the spacebar when we're naming folders or files. The reason is because one, you want to make sure that the computer can find the files no matter how they're named. So if we stay all lowercase, we're being very consistent. And then number two, a computer actually doesn't read a space as a space. It actually uses a code in the background of a 20% to be able to make sure that it knows that a space exists. And that can get really convoluted really quickly. So we don't want to use spaces because we don't want to confuse the computer, and we want to stay consistent, so we're going to stay all lowercase. Now, what's an assets folder for? Well, you can name this whatever you want to, but I'm going to name it assets so I know it's assets that are being used on the web. What's really important is when you go to put files on the web, and this is something we're going to talk about again later, is that you're using up space on a web server. So when you make your files available for somebody to go see, you're using up space, and you have a limited amount of space you can use. So we don't want to upload everything to the server because other people don't need like our Photoshop files or our Illustrator files because they don't even have Photoshop and Illustrator most likely to even view those files, and we're not putting those on our website. Instead, we'd be putting our images on our website, right? Like our JPEGs or PNGs, all those kinds of things. So the assets folder is a folder where we get to put all the files that we're going to upload to the web in addition to our pages that we're going to use. So I wanted to make sure you had these folders and you were set and ready to go because we're going to start bringing in files, and we're going to create files and put them in here, and we need to know where we're putting them because when we go to upload them to the web, everything needs to be in one folder to make it easy peasy for us to do that.